Shalom, all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Ba'asham, Achak, Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone who rule well, pushing this 100% truth of the gospel, waking up and sealing the elect of the nation of Israel through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh, and salutations to all your sincere Akim that are pushing this gospel in all righteousness and in all sincerity, risking your lives and your freedom to do so. Right, so this is another video going into the Israeli Hamas war in Bible prophecy. And this will be my response to it because you see, these Wakitaki Christians, they have their own version of prophecy, right? And in this version of prophecy, the state of Israel is a pivotal point, and this and that, and they are the chosen people, and all the nations are against them. My poor 48ers, boo hoo, that kind of thing. And how they are an important part of prophecy taking place, which of course the Israelites, the real Israelites, aren't just an important part of prophecy. They are the prophecy, all right, because every prophecy that goes on, it's always concerning the Israelites, and it always revolves around the Israelites. The Israelites are the center of prophecy. That's the title, right? That's the lesson right there. But anyway, the Israelites are the center of prophecy. None of these prophecies go forth without it. No prophecy in the scriptures is written about any other nation except that nation is directly or indirectly involved with the Israelites. All right. So now, basically, what this individual is saying is, that the state of Israel, the 48ers, that the current Israeli-Hamas conflict and all that is the way that these Christians, they are saying that that it's a part of Bible prophecy. That's a part of prophecy that this was I don't know right now to put it, but basically that they believe that what is happening is a part of prophecy, and they've already brought out scriptures and twisted them, of course, to make it fit those 48ers, those fake people. So what they did is, what they did, the prophecies they want to use them, the book of Psalms 83, and I believe Ezekiel 38th chapter, basically going into how all the nations are supposed to be against the 48ers, which is not the case, alright, because you only have but basically this is what they say, alright. So then we get the book of Psalms 83 verse 2, and it reads, "For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones." And this is going into all the nations against the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, alright, the true Israelites, so-called, but the true Israelites. And when I say so-called, I mean the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, not the so-called Israelites, because the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, who are so-called those names, are the true Israelites. And it goes on to mention their names, if you go on down. But anyway, from verse 4, they have said, "Come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they are consulted together with one consent. They are confederates against the tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites, of Moab and the Hagarenes, Gebal and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. Ashur also is joined with them. They have opened the children of Lot, Selah." That's basically going into their own breakdown of it. And I would have played the video, but I've been getting a little copyright strikes recently, so I'm not going to leave it at that. But basically, what he's saying that all these nations are in the Middle East and they are against the state of Israel. But that's not the case, because we understand that okay, Moab is not in the Middle East, Ammon is not in the Middle East, alright, because they are the so-called Chinese and Japanese respectively. Moab being the Chinese and Ammon being the Japanese. The Edomites are the state of Israel themselves, and the other Edomites that are in the Middle East are not against them. The only people that are in the Middle East right now are Ishmael, alright, which Ishmael and maybe a little bit of Ham. If you go into, if you believe that Egypt is a part of the Middle East, but that's neither here nor there, alright. So basically, what I say is that all these nations are against the state of Israel, and that proves that they are the people. But that's not the case, because if you go on up a little bit, just a little bit, not too much. Psalms 83 verse 4, and it reads, "They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance." And that's it. Okay, that's all you need to know, that these are not the people, because what does it say? As it will stop them from being a nation. And even though they are a state, guess what? They have a seat in the UN. They are recognized as a people in all the all the countries of the world recognize them as a nation, recognize the state of Israel as its own sovereign country. So how did they cut them off from being a nation if they already are a nation? If the name of Israel is already out there, the flag is up there, they are being talked about so much on the news right now, and you even have people out there that believe that they are the chosen people. How did they succeed in that? But what they are doing is they want to cut off the real Israelites, alright? They want to separate them and discontinue them from their heritage. So that's once again you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. I don't think that just because you see a state of Israel up there, that those are automatically the people. Don't think that just because some people claim to be the Israelites, and they don't have any scriptures or any history or any relics to back them up, that those must be the people. Because even they have told against themselves, they have admitted themselves that they are not the people. Alright, you can read Shlomo Sand. I've forgotten the title of his books. You can read the 13th Tribe by author Kolsler, another Amalekite, another Edomite of the 48er persuasion. These people have already confessed who they are. They aren't the people, man. They aren't the true Israelites. Alright, and these Christians like to twist all these scriptures to try and make it seem like these people that are living in the state of Israel right now are the true people, but they are not, right? Because what the scriptures say, that Israel, alright, that we always talk about this, that when they go to the land, that there will be peace on earth. The Most High will carry them to the land with His own hand, right? Yahweh is the one that will bring us to. Rather, it's going to bring us into that land, not anybody else. Alright, and going back to the main thing, the Balfour Declaration, that is that Israel, or the state of Israel, that Israel should be a sovereign state. That doesn't sound like Psalms 83 to me. But that's basically what these Wakitaki Christians want you to believe, that those people that are in the land of Israel today are the real people, alright? Even though with all their wickedness that they do, the idol worship, alright, the abominable eating of foods, right, the promotion of wicked acts and promotion of wickedness, I'm pretty sure that I'm pretty sure that the divorce rate in Israel is just as high as it is in Babylon. And we know that that whole divorce matter is going off, alright. But now, so let me go to Book of Ezekiel 38, because this isn't even going to take long. That's how easy it is to basically that's how easy it is to debunk, or I want to use the term debunk, but that's how easy it is to show that these Wakitaki Christians are liars. It's not going to take long. Right, the Book of Ezekiel 38 from verse 2, and it reads, "Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, Thus saith Yahweh of power, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal." And he's talking about Gog and Magog, because he also mentioned that. He said the war of Gog and Magog, because what the Most High is doing, right, he's gathering all nations into the valley. And let me get that piece. That is the book of Joel 2, I believe, because that's actually what is happening. But he wants to, this individual, alright, I don't really know his name because I wasn't listening to that. I just wanted to hear what he had to say, because I know that this Christian, I was hearing a lot about it, in these social media, online forums. Christians are talking about how the whole Israeli-Hamas conflict is a part of Bible prophecy. It's a part of Bible prophecy taking place. So I was like, let me just watch a video to see what these Christians have to say. And naturally, they had nothing to say. Alright, so let me get this book of Joel chapter 2. Let me bring it out. Yeah, I don't really know where it is in the scriptures. Let me just type it down. And that word Jehoshaphat, it means you're the most high judgments. And it's also the land of Syria. Alright. So this book of Alright, this is the book of Joel 3 verse 1. Book of Joel 3 verse 1. For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations. I will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. Right there you have it. That when the Most High comes to bring judgment in that valley, that he will, that the people that has had what the people that has scattered the real Israelites and taking that land for themselves. That is who the Most High is coming against. All right, and that would be all the nations that are mentioned in the book of Psalms 83, except for the Israelites, of course. Edom, Moab, Ammon, Ishmael, Ham, and even Japheth. All right. But yet somehow, in some way, the Israelites are in their lands. The Israelites are in the Middle East and are in the state of Israel, not even the land of Israel, because what that is right there, it's not the actual country, but it's rather an occupation, a foreign occupation, basically a colony on another person's land, and all the other nations as well, because this isn't a video supporting Palestine or supporting Hamas or anything like that. We don't, I don't give a shit, alright? I don't care about Hamas or the Palestine. I don't care about Israel as well. The way I see it, all those people are impostors. They are working on the land that does not belong to them, and what is happening to them is just they are, is what I'm looking for. They are meat judgment, the judgment from the Most High that honestly they deserve. You don't want to get blown to, if you Palestine don't want to constantly be blown to bits every single day. Just leave just leave that land, just leave that land. It doesn't get any easier than that. Because so long as they are in that land, the Most High will always bring down judgment against you. Because you know what the scripture says, and I'm going to get that one as well. But let me just focus on this right now. Alright. And that basically, that's if you watch the video, he was talking about the war of Gog and Magog. And that war of Gog and Magog is not actually a war of Gog and Magog, but the war in heaven, alright? Because all the nations are gathered together in the valley of Jehoshaphat, in other words, the Middle East, Syria. That's when the Most High will bring that. That's when the Yahushua will personally fight with them, alright? With the chariots and the fighter jets, the US rather the fighter jets of the world, and they're going to be destroyed there, because all the lead nations, all the first world countries with nuclear capable countries and all that will be against. They will be against the Most High. Will be against Yahushua, and eventually against Babylon. Right? There's no jumping in prophecy. Right? There's no jumping over to one portion and glossing over, skipping over the rest. Alright, every prophecy, the prophecy is ordered. The Most High is not the author of confusion, but of order in all the churches. So the Most High won't jump prophecy. Alright, he won't put the Israelites in their land and then start fulfilling all the other prophecies while start slowly fulfilling all the other prophecies, even though the Israelites coming back to their land is supposed to be the last part of it. It's supposed to be the last thing to happen. Right, it will happen in order, because we deal with the power of order. So the real people, they are not in the land yet, because there's still so much work, alright, so much prophecy that still needs to be fulfilled. And of course, secondly, if the previous video that I did right now, the real Israelites, right, the true Israelites are prophesying on the highways and byways, all over the four corners of the earth, about the name of the Lord and about the destruction and the downfall of this kingdom. Alright, not sitting in that, not practicing wickedness in a occupation, because that's basically what that land is. So now to go back to the precept that I actually wanted to bring out, going into the residue of the heathen and all of Idumea that have parted the land of the Most High. So this is the book of Ezekiel 36 verse 5, and it reads, "Therefore thus saith Yahweh of power, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen, and against all Idumea, which have appointed my land into their possession, with the joy of all their hearts, with despiteful minds to cast it out for a prey." That's basically what that Belflor declaration is, alright? Because going back to Job 9 verse 24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He was so happy, it is with great pleasure that it wasn't that what the British government wrote to I forget his name, but the Lord Belflor. "It is with great pleasure that I give this land to you," because the land was given to him, and he gave the land to the 48ers. That's why they call them the 48ers, because it happened during 1948. The Belflor Declaration, which shows you who is actually in rulership in this kingdom, man. Because they can just just by signing a piece of paper, a land, land can move hands. Property, lands are not can move hands just by signing or writing on a bit of paper, to show you how to show you who is actually in rulership today. Alright, and like I said, I actually said this in camp before. The Palestinians didn't sign, they didn't sign off to it. They didn't even know, they didn't even have a say in who, whether these 48ers could come into that land or not. They just carpet bombed a few Palestinians and they moved into the land. That's how it is. That's why they're currently caught, locked in conflict today. Because what are these Christians going to say? That the conflict that the Israelis have been locked in since they came into that land, 1948 till now, that's certain number of years, like something along the lines of 73, 83, 90, something along the lines of maybe 73, 83, 93 years. Just a quick math, maybe 93 years, and they've been in conflict, they've been at war every single second of those 93 years, showing you that these are not the people, man. Because they have, but that's beside the point. That's what we're focusing on. Let's go back to the Wakitaki Christian prophecy, which is basically that the Israeli-Hamas conflict is all the nations being confederates against Israel, rather all the nations in the Middle East being confederates against the nation of the state of Israel, which of course that is biblical prophecy. That is biblical prophecy, but that is not the biblical prophecy that they are using, because the biblical prophecy that it actually is that the Most High will have war with Amalek from generation to generation. So this is how you know who the true Amalekites are, and this is how we know who the Edomites are as well. Who are those that use the sword? Who are those that are constantly fighting wars, that are constantly in conflict, that are constantly, they are constantly going to war against other nations. The book of Exodus 17 verse 16, and it reads, "For he said, because Yahweh hath sworn that Yahweh will have war with Amalek from generation to generation." And that's plain, alright. So long as this state of Israel exists, the Most High is always against them, automatically against them. If you're an Edomite, especially if you're an Amalekite, the Most High, Yahweh is automatically against you, and that's why they are always in conflict. Because first and foremost, they are they live by this sword. Blood is all they know. That's basically it. The Sith, as the scripture says, they loved blood. They did not hate blood. They loved blood. They pursued blood, and blood is all these Edomites know. They always have to fight wars. Like the Elder Malcolm had said in his previous video that once these Edomites are run out of people to fight against, they start to fight against themselves. And you can clearly see that happening, with the First and Second World War, which was basically just E fighting against E, and then involving all the other nations in it. The same thing happened with Alexander and his 4 generals. The Didachi Wars. It was E fighting E, but they involved all the other nations in it. And this World War III is the exact same thing. It's going to be E fighting the Most High and involving all the other nations in it, which is why, as it just says, they shall hate the whore, and they shall burn her with fire. Alright. This is why the scriptures also say that the man of sin will be revealed, because at the end of the day, everybody is going to know who the real Edomites are, and conversely, they're going to know who the true Israelites are. Alright, they will know that the people that they have been oppressing. And that's even in the Book of Wisdom, also 1:5. The people that they have been oppressing, the people that they thought that were at the bottom, that they were always against, that they thought that they were completely, worthless, that had no ability, that had nothing. They will see them become the sons of the Most High. Alright, and going, that is who the real Israelites are. There is those 48ers, they have no stake in this whole thing. So yeah, let me end it right there. I don't want to go into this too long, because I was just trying to summarize it, just trying to get through it real quick, because if I actually did an in-depth video, I'd be here all day. So with that, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahwashai, Ba'asham Rachak Wadash, Wa Abad Babal, and through the Spirit, I hope you Akim and you Akwat were edified. Shalom.